Okay. Hello, A Higher Note friends and community. I'm Natalie Eastman, and I'm a vocal coach and a singer. And I have launched this little interview series that I am affectionately calling 30-minute expert interviews because I would like to give a time limit to these interviews, but also for them to be both exciting and compact and informative for all of you who are developing in your vocal practice. So today I have a colleague that we've actually just finally met in person online, even though we've worked in the same building. So one of the places I teach is called the Chaddock Conservatory of Music here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And this is my colleague, Sophia Puckett, and I'm gonna let her say hi here for a second.
Hi.
So that gives
the Zoom,
that gives the Zoom camera. Sometimes I'll pause just so everybody knows, and that gives the Zoom camera time to switch over to her. Whoever's speaking gets the attention. So that's what's going on in case viewers are wondering. So Sophia Puckett has a stage name. It is Sophia Grayce with a Y, Grayce. And she is an independent singer and songwriter and also a music educator, which is how I met her. But looked her up online and found out she's a songwriter, and I thought this is a perfect opportunity for people in my community to be able to connect with someone who is actively working on their songwriting craft and skills, in addition to being, of course, an active singer and also actively pursuing, engaged in performance and in recording opportunities and things like that. So Sophia is here and has agreed to talk with us for about 30 minutes. And I do have several questions for you. And just so you know, she has offered something that she's going to tell us about at the end. So I want you guys to stick around and hear what she has to offer to everyone who's viewing this interview at the end. So first of all, Sophia, I'm going to put the camera back on you for a second and let you just say, hey, I'm Sophia, and tell us, is there one thing that happened to you, a statement, some type of comment, a compelling message, a call, a drive, or an encouragement you received that you can point to in your life that compelled you to sing and drove you toward performing, or anything in that kind of realm?
Right. Well, my name's Sophia. Thanks for watching. I don't know if there was a defining moment or not. It feels a lot like it happened little by little. When I first started out, I was more interested in acting than I was in singing. I entered a talent competition for like an acting and modeling contract, and singing ended up being my talent. And a lot of the judges seemed to be impressed with it, which I thought was kind of weird. So because I won like the modeling and acting contract, they also had, singing competitions and stuff you could participate in. So that's how I kind of like eased into it in the beginning. And as I was doing that, my dad was very supportive of me. He's the one who helped me, upload my YouTube videos and took me to all the competitions. He was helping me practice. So I think if anything, it was probably the support from him that, really drove me to continue, because I don't even know if I would have done it by myself.
That is really cool. And I'm so inspired by that. I have 3 kids who are talented and are always coming up with all these little enterprises.
Right.
And they usually want it to be on YouTube, and I'm hesitant to have them go on YouTube as kids, right, when they're all young. Yeah. So, they want to be a YouTube sensation. But that is really cool that your dad really helped to propel you into that whole thinking. Probably, would you say that he helped you think of yourself more seriously in those ways, like in terms of performance?
I would think so for sure. He was really adamant about, like practice and technique and learning as much as you can. So it was him really driving me. Because of course, like at age 12, I didn't have, that drive myself. So he was the person who kind of taught me, like, if you're going to do this, let's do it seriously. This is what you need to do. But before that, yeah, I would have never even considered it just because I was so young. And so I needed someone, there supporting me. And I'm really glad he did that.
Yeah, that is really inspiring and helpful. And that really kind of coaches me in a lot of ways as a parent. So,
Yeah.
okay, now what is one big thing, and whether this falls under the category of mindset or a specific practice or some type of approach to training, or anything like that, whatever. Is there one thing that you can point to that you can say has shaped your approach to the practice of singing?
Yes. So somewhere in my practice, I'm not exactly sure when it was, maybe around like age 15, I started taking from a classical based vocal coach. And my dad was really adamant about learning from a bunch of different teachers. So within like, from ages 12 to 18, I maybe had like 6 or 7 different teachers, just because we like to get opinions from different people and like to compare. And so when I started taking classical lessons, I was not on board. It didn't make sense to me because, at that age, I was very, narrow-minded, I guess, and it didn't make sense that I was, doing classical training for pop songs. But I've learned now, and I, try to tell everyone that anything you do to strengthen your voice is going to help your voice. And I think building up your head voice is really important in singing with your mix and, belting while doing it healthily. So learning classically for me was a really big game changer and eye opener. And so I think learning, like popular music, but also technique based vocal training is super important. And so I would preach that definitely.
You'd get an amen from me for sure. I was raised singing classically because I started in church.
Right.
And that was pretty much the foundation of what we were doing, was classical approach.
Mm-hmm.
And but it wasn't until my mom got me, and again, here's the parent right involved. My mom purchased me some lessons with an opera singer, with an opera teacher. And and I was like, what am I doing on opera? I think I was 15 or so at the time.
Yeah.
And but yes, that was so foundational for my vocal development.
Yes.
So much. And I have probably a lot like you. I have a lot of students who are pop oriented. That's what they hear all the time. It's what they see all the time. It's what they want to do. And that is, it's the easiest to sing.
Yes.
It's not always the easiest on your voice.
Right.
But they don't know, people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would suspect, like you, I give every single student, even if because I've had students come to me for screaming, and the kind of thrasher type rock. And so we'll go through some very foundational classical technique. Yes. And they're always like, where's this been all my life? And killing my voice and losing. So anyway, that's really interesting that you have a similar story. I really think that there are a lot of singers, and there are, I don't think there are a ton of rock and pop artists who have a classical foundation.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right now, okay. What is one thing that, and this could be a tip, a call to action, something else that you might preach, a specific exercise, anything, okay, that's connected to your particular area of expertise. And you can think of this in terms of voice and singing, or you can think of it in terms of songwriting, or you could answer it you could talk about both, because we're doing pretty good on time. So but that you would feel compelled to share with singers as a way for them to develop their own craft.
Right. Okay. So, vocally, my favorite exercise that, I preach upon everyone is just like a lip roll or buzzing. So doing that on scales. Oh, praise God. Yeah. So it's the thing that I use the most. Because I think like even in my own practice, it's the only thing that I feel like really works for me and makes me feel warmed up. Then, when I'm like practicing songs or if, I need to get through a note, I resort back to that. So I know like it's in the right place. And I'm able to like run through it before using my actual voice. And so vocally, the lip roll is, what I would recommend.
And let me save you the save face for you, and I'll demonstrate that for in case people don't know what a lip roll is. Let me just show you. I put my fingers on my cheeks. This is a Seth Riggs trick, but this is just gently putting my fingers about an inch behind the corners of my mouth, and I'm gonna kind of sort of do a little bit toward a kiss, but not really, keeping my lips together gently, not like that, just letting them be together, and I'm gonna force air through them. So when you were a kid and you were in the bathtub or in the pool and you were playing motorboat, that's what you're doing. All right. Please continue. What else? And what kinds of ways do you use that for yourself? You use it for warming up. How do you use it for warming up?
So I do it on scales. Usually I do like pentatonic scales, and I'll just go up usually like an octave or two in order to warm up. And then if I'm working on a specific song, I will buzz through the song a couple times before I actually sing it. And then if there's like a note or something that, I'm struggling with and I have to keep like, going back to it, I'll buzz through it a few times because that's letting me know that, this is where it needs to be. And then when I go back and sing it, I try to put in the same place that I used when I was doing the buzz.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then is there anything that you would share kind of if I'd known then what I know now kind of thing?
Right.
Compelling tip for songwriting.
For songwriting, let's see. I think collaborative songwriting is really important. I was not great at that. I think because I was like super shy, and it was because I was younger, but I think I would be more stern now. But a lot of times we would work with groups of people, and it was like writing songs for myself particularly, and I was afraid to throw ideas out there, which led to a song that I didn't necessarily like, that I had to sing. And so I think it's really important to learn how to collaboratively songwrite and do it well. So don't be afraid to throw your ideas out there, and don't be afraid to say, no, I don't like that. Another thing I would say is just do you. I think with songwriting, one of the first songs that I ever wrote broke like every rule of like modern songwriting structure, because I just didn't know. I wasn't, like super trained or anything like that. But it ended up being like a very popular song, and that was the reason why I got signed to the label that I did. And it wasn't just like one label liked it. It got a lot of attention, and I think the reason why was because it wasn't like anything, because I didn't have any rules to follow. So do you. The first few songs will probably be awful, but just experiment and explore, I would say.
Cool. How would you say, what would you say is Sophia Grayce? What's the you?
Right. That took a while to find out. When I was signed to the label, it was in Vermont. And so they always thought I was a hick because I was from Georgia. And so they said that I had they wanted me to do pop music. And so they were like, you're like pop and country and kind of blues. So I don't know if that's a song genre, but I think I've kind of fallen into more of folk music I like, as well as blues and, a combination between blues and folk, I think. And I have like a deeper voice, which I had to come to terms with. I realized that I couldn't do a lot of pop belting, and I didn't really need to. Just, everyone doesn't sound the same. And so coming to terms with the fact that my lower register is probably, the better part of my voice. So I should sing things that, kind of embrace that. Coming to terms with that was important too.
That is important. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's how you have to focus on the things that
Mm-hmm.
you feel like you can produce the best quality stuff.
Yes.
And then B, the things that you feel like you can express yourself the most fully because
Right.
you can engage that. At the same
Mm-hmm.
time, let me ask you kind of that, classically you were saying
Right.
part of classical development is developing your head voice.
Yes.
That's part of it, not the
Yes.
whole. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot to classical, but how would you say you are keeping your whole voice maintained? Because let's look at
Mm-hmm.
a number of artists,
Right.
female and male, who
Right.
focus in like, an 8
Right.
semitone or 12 semitone range,
Mm-hmm.
and they end up on the operating table getting
Right.
microsurgery and stuff like that because they reuse the same thing. So how do you take care of your voice? I know this is not right on our
Right. No.
list, but this is bringing up a great question for somebody who's actively
Mm-hmm.
working and
Right.
singing and
Mm-hmm.
learn this about yourself, and
Yeah.
but you have to care for your whole voice. So how do you protect your whole voice while really capitalizing on the cash cow area of your voice?
Right. So, because I'm a music teacher, I'm singing literally all day, every day. I think it's really important to warm up. I preach the fact that, please warm up before you, start full out singing. I think that's really important. I think making sure that you're singing in the right place. So, not putting strain on your voice is going to help to protect it a whole lot. I think that even if you decide and come to terms with the fact that this is the part of my voice that sounds the best, so this is the part of my voice that I'm going to use, I think it's still important to practice and exercise the other parts of your voice so that you're not damaging it or losing those certain parts. My voice is obviously very deep, but when I sing in a choir, I'm singing all soprano parts. And so using those different parts are still important, even though, this is the part that you want to, like exhibit or whatever. So,
Mhm. Excellent. Thank you.
mhm.
Okay. What are you working on right now both in your vocal practice and in your career, or one or the other? You can pick a topic.
Right. Yeah. So I'm doing career-wise, I've done my undergrad as I majored in music technology. So I've been working on the back end on a lot of stuff recently for a lot of artists and stuff like that. I'm getting my master's degree, so that's been fun. And then while I'm doing that, I've been, teaching, and that's really been an awesome experience. I've also started doing teaching online, so people who are more interested in performing and recording and stuff like that. It's kind of like a subscription service, I guess. They get like unlimited amount of attention from me. And so if they have questions about, their songs or exercises that they're working on, a performance they're going to do, they have, contact with me 24/7, and we work on, an artist's image and stuff like that.
Mhm.
That's been fun. And then I've been teaching at Chodic. I've been doing a lot of choral music.
Mm.
I just went to Italy doing that.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And then,
Hey, if for no other reason than travel, people ought to start singing or
yes,
playing instruments.
it's so true.
I mean, sometimes you have to drum it up, but there's
it's
always
true.
an excuse. So
It is. I know. And we always especially with the choral stuff, they always go such fun places. So, learn to sing.
right on.
So yeah, I think, what else have I been up to? I think that's about it.
Tell us the name of it sounds like you have a coaching program. That's what it is,
Mhm.
online. And
Yeah.
is it group format or is it one-on-one format?
It is one-on-one format. It's a branch of my audio studio, which is called Strawberry Moon Sounds. And so, it's just an umbrella underneath that company. But yeah, it's kind of, like I said, like a subscription service. We do it month by month. And we'll do like Skype videos. We'll also do YouTube videos. And we'll work on a lot of technique-based stuff, but it's more intense than, your average vocal lesson, because it's for those people who are more interested in being an artist. And so we do the vocal lessons, but we also have, like advice from me on, being an artist in that artist image. So it's a little bit different, but it's fun.
Yes, more of a mentoring.
Yes.
In terms of the whole package of like, okay, if you really want to pursue this,
right,
here's things you need to think about in terms of a career lifestyle and choices you're going to like letting them. Okay, that's really great. So where can people find that? Well, my next question is, how can people stay in touch with you or get further in touch?
Right. So I have an Instagram page for my studio that they can follow. I can also send you some information if you could put that, in the link on the video or however it's done. And let's see, what else do I have? I have an email address. So if people would like to directly contact me, I can send that to you as well.
Beautiful. So, and now you have a little free gift. It's not little.
I do.
It's exciting. It's good stuff. So you have a document you're going to make available to people, and all they have to do is give their email address and it'll be delivered to them.
Yeah.
So tell us about this that you have prepared.
Yeah, so it's going to be 5 tips for artists specifically on how to enhance your social media and like your web presence and stuff like that. So it's stuff that I've kind of found throughout the years through a lot of trial and error. And it's stuff that when I was, signed to a label, it was stuff that we were doing every day. And it's stuff we've accumulated over time. So this works, this doesn't work. And, eventually I've compiled some tips. And so that's what I'll be giving.
Excellent. What a time saver. A lot of people.
Sure.
Hey, people don't try to learn this on your own. Take it from a girl who yes, I tend to charge into things like a bull in a china shop.
Yes.
And that can often take a lot more time than you really need to spend.
Yeah.
So learn from Sophia's both successes and mistakes and grab her 5 tips today. Those of you who are really trying to do something with your voice. So, and thank you very much for that, Sophia. And,
yeah, absolutely.
And so I want to tell people that there will be a little form. Just look below this or beside this. One of these directions, maybe this way, and wherever it's going to end up on the page. And just type your email address in there, and that will give you her the 5 free tips for you, and also allow her to be in contact with you. So that will, I will tell you straight up now, that will put you on her email list so she can stay in touch with you. So hopefully you'll want that. So if any of you who are interested in just staying in touch with, knowing more about Sophia Puckett, Sophia Grayce, stage name, Puckett, married name, and then that will be a way for you to do that. So thank you very much, Sophia,
thank you.
for your time and for your willingness to share both your life and your experience and your thoughts, and also some of your expertise with all of us today. I appreciate it, and appreciate you, and look forward to seeing you in person.
Yes. Thanks so much for having me. It was awesome.
You're very welcome. All right. Take care, everyone.
You too. Bye. Thanks.